Welcome to another midweek conversation with First Baptist Church Sweetwater, where we strive to be the first responders of God's love. My name is Jerry Hendricks, and I'm here with my co-host, Teek Hamilton.
Co-host.
Hey,
like
Teek.
it.
Hey, we've got some exciting news to share with you. We want to start that before we get into our podcast today. Teek and I this morning, and Lisa, our staff, got together, and we've cooked up something good for Reunion Sunday that I think that you're going to enjoy. Teek, lead us into that.
Okay. I was all excited because we talked about cooking the last couple times, and you said we've cooked up something good.
We did cook up something good.
It's gonna be good. So for Reunion Sunday, we know it's going to be difficult to gather together. We know that it's hard for people to travel during this time, and there's some worries and fears, and I get that. But we wanted to still have Reunion Sunday, so we've decided to create a Zoom Reunion Sunday atmosphere that reflects that of what they're doing in the NBA and the NHL, where you've got the pictures on the big screen. And so we want you to be a part of Reunion Sunday through Zoom. So you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You can be in worship with us, and we can Zoom Reunion Sunday together.
And we'll be able to see you in the worship center and interact some throughout the worship service. We're on the early parts of piecing that together. It's been a conversation that Teek's had with our media team for the last week, and they did a practice session Sunday to know that we could pull this off. But we thought how fun it might be to be able to have so many people join us, but still be in the comfort and the safety of their home, not have to travel, but we could still have a celebration on that Sunday. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's exciting.
So the process for this will be, we will send you Zoom information in our newsletter. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that by going to our website at fbcsweetwater.org. There'll be a pop-up there to register for our newsletter, and you can join us, and that will go out in Thursday's newsletter and then also in next Thursday's newsletter. So that's 2 weeks really of preparation we have prior to Reunion Sunday, which will be homecoming weekend here in Sweetwater. And it's the 27th. That Sunday is the 27th of September.
Right. 2 weeks from this last Sunday.
Right. Worship time will be at 10:30. We'll post some instructions on there how to do that. Obviously, there's been some scams and things that have gone on with Zoom, so we're going to be very careful on how we release the information for the link and the password. So we'll won't embarrass ourselves and get in trouble on that Sunday.
Right.
But we're going to have, we've got some really good things happening there. And just, I think it'd be great to be able to see some faces from around the country, folks that would love to be with us, but can't, but can join us in this particular way. So help us spread the word. We'll be hitting our social media with that information this week and talking about it a lot. So
yeah, definitely.
All right.
I'm excited about it.
Me too. Well, getting into our podcast and some of our regular conversation here, the message on Sunday was about leading with love, reflected our mission statement, which our mission phrase, which is love first. And in the way that we view doing ministry here together, the focus and the easy capture for us on what we want to be about in terms of our mission are just those two words. We want to love first. And the way that we've done that is thinking through what it would mean to be the first responders of God's love. But along with that is our process to achieve and stay on mission. And those three words are worship, grow, and serve. Those were developed prior to my arrival here at First Baptist Sweetwater. And y'all went through some process to come up with those three words, definitive words.
Right. Yeah, that was part of our transition team study, where we looked at if someone was going to be, we call it fully engaged member now, what is their process for discipleship? What are they participating here at First Baptist Church? And so we came with worship, grow, serve. Worship, we want you to be here at least 1 hour a week for worship, 1 hour in some way growing, whether it's a small group, a Bible study, and then an hour in service that you're serving as a part of the church.
Right. So as you think about your progress and your spiritual growth and your formation, one of the ways to sort of evaluate that in a very practical way would be to look at those three areas and just through your discipline and prayer, determine how God's directing you in those three areas. Obviously, there's ways you can do that outside the life of the church, and we encourage that as well. But within the context of understanding a community of faith and being a strong congregation, we know that it's important for every fully engaged member to be along that process path with us of worship, growth, and serving.
Yeah.
So then, as we talked about that, the passage we used was in 1 Corinthians, the 13 portion, just a small portion of the love chapter. And it was good to kind of revisit that and think about some of the words that Paul used to characterize what love is.
Yeah. One of the things that you said last week was that it'd be great if the church was criticized for loving too much.
Right.
And we talked about that a little bit, but I got home after Stacy had seen the podcast or watched it, listened to it, and she said that when you said that, she's like, "Oh, that's good. I need to comment on that." And then as she listened to the rest of it, she goes, "Oh, wait, they already commented on it again." So that really stuck with her. It stuck with me this week, and it just fits so perfectly with 1 Corinthians 13 of what love is, what God is, and what we should be.
Right, and it does we want it to kind of create a mindset for us as we learn how to follow Christ in this path that He's provided for us, that we really do want to lean into what it means to love others and to take care of others in the best way possible. And as we've seen this last year, and we're living in a time right now with fires and hurricanes and different things that are just going on around us, it's quite an endless list, really, that is before us in ways that we can serve. So we want to be a part of that. And then I think along the lines of thinking about those three things, one of the driving parts to that makes it work is our relationships.
In Bob Goff's book that we're reading,
Right.
Sometime this week, he talked about how when a public figure that's a friend of his has a moral failure, he immediately jumps on a plane and goes to see them and spend time with them because that's what they need most at that moment. And I have no idea what that is. Someone's calling, apparently.
Okay.
And so he talked about how he spends time with them because that's what they need, that idea that Jesus ran to those who needed Him most at that moment, and that we need to be like that we run to those people who need it the most. And sometimes it's people that everybody else is going, I want to distance myself from them, but He runs to them. And so that's that relational idea of loving first.
And I think that's really what we've tried to hit home, is that it's really most often our first reaction, our initial response is criticism and judgment.
Right.
And it was interesting. I forget what day that was on. I'm on the right days, I know.
I'm on the right days, but I don't know how many days ago that was.
That was, but it has been interesting. I just made a couple of social media posts on my personal accounts quoting Bob Goff. It had been a couple of weeks. But it is amazing how that book has tracked with us, or we've tracked with it throughout this year, and some of the things that we've been saying on Sunday morning.
It's kind of like Bob knows something about love.
Maybe Bob should just come be a part of what we're doing here.
I mean, we already have two Bobs here. We could take another
Bob,
one.
we want to invite you to our reunion Sunday, and it's on September the 27th. We think it'd be cool if you'd join us, and that way we'd give you a shout out in a more personal way.
Better yet, if you're watching this right now and you're a member of First Baptist Church, in the back of his books is his cell phone number. Call him and invite him. Practice that invitation.
Invite him to our Zoom worship. Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be so amazing.
Teague, let's talk about this. I was thinking, to kind of segue from Lead with Love to our theme for the series that we're about to come upon this Sunday. It's going to be from the book of Philippians. It's a book about joy, and the theme is joy always.
Right.
So I got to thinking, this has been a difficult year for us to be joyful. So I thought, let's do this. Let's list the top 10 things we've loved about 2020.
Top 10 things that we've loved about 2020? I'm in.
I can do.
Yeah.
Well,
man, I can do this.
I'll be honest, I thought that would stump you.
Oh, no. No.
Well, let's just elaborate then.
Well, I mean, I can start right now. From last night, I went home after deacons and church council.
We're not going to talk about sports.
Oh, no, we are. The Stars are in the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 20 years, and that was back when I was in school, and so Stars fan. So there's that. During the pandemic, we talked about Wednesday night about being better together. And so we talked about how were you better together during this slowdown that God, that happened. And God's allowed us to use that as a time to grow closer to God, to humans, to creation, and in the church, as part of church. So I talked about, what are the ways that you grew during that time? And so I can talk about the times that Stacy and I spent together on walks and doing things together because we couldn't go anywhere else. So we walked and we talked and we did that, experiencing time outdoors, wearing our dogs out on walks, those type of things I can think about. And even in like my own personal life, I've read more this year than I have maybe since seminary, in a wider variety, not just churchy books, but all kinds of books. And that was a goal of mine starting off the year, that I would do a book a week. And right now I'm all the way, like book-wise, I'm through September. So it's...
a book a week?
Yeah, a book a week. And so, and that, again, that's
some of those are comic books, right?
No, none of them are comic books. But some of them are audio books. So okay. I do count that as a book. And then, walking to church, the conversations that I had several times on the walks back and forth with people. So, yeah, I can start listing off a bunch of things.
We're already up to about 6 or 7.
Food. I've done a lot of cooking and a lot of fun cooking. I bought a smoker. I bought a vertical smoker.
We're approaching 10 here.
I'm telling you, I can do it.
And that's just steak. And I'm serious. I was working on the outline for our podcast and thinking through maybe some bullet points for conversation. And I wrote that down. And I started to make the list myself, and I go, I got nothing. I mean, the family part was on my list, and then, but you've helped me think of some other things. But man, you were ready. That's something I'm good at.
Top
10 list?
No, no, that's David Letterman. That shows my age, I guess. No, I think for me over the last 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. Thankfulness has become kind of part of my routine in the form of also writing like thank you notes. That's kind of a lost talent these days. And so it's helped me to focus my life on what I'm thankful for on a regular basis. And I don't know where that actually came from. I don't know where I first heard that or whatever, but I made it a priority. And so I can do that now.
Man, I'm stunned.
I know I'm grumpy most of the time. No, I get that y'all see the grumpy me, but no, I do think about the things that I'm thankful for.
It wasn't there's not a grumpy version of Teak. It was.
I
was just surprised that there was a top 10 list right on the top of your head.
Oh yeah, I can jump into that.
Yeah, well, that's pretty crazy. Well,
San Antonio.
We do. I shared with you last week that as it had not dawned on me because it's been some weeks now that we decided on Philippians for this next series. I really struggled coming up with a series title for it.
Right.
We landed on that because joy is the theme throughout the book, as Paul writes to that church,
right.
And it is one of his the warmest letters that he writes. But I remember coming into your office last week and I'm going, wow, it's gonna be interesting talking about joy for 4 weeks.
Right.
When a lot of folks are just looking at the dark side of this year.
Right.
And we keep hearing it over and over about 2020 is getting a bad rap all the way around.
As well, it probably should. Some of my favorite things are when people post, like for the next month, who had animal killing mosquitoes for September.
Yeah.
And those type of things, because there is something new each month. But you can condition yourself to look for the good in it, I guess, because there's a lot going on that's so frustrating, and I'm not trying to make light of it at all. I really think that children have probably been affected the most by all this,
right.
Because they're the ones who are easily lost in the being able to have relationships with their friends because they don't have technology as well. They shouldn't. But I think that's one of the things that you can look at and you can see there are definitely struggles in someone being pulled out of their element of being able to be around people all the time. But I don't know. It hasn't been horrible for me, I guess.
Well, I think one of the sort of reflective moments in preparing for today and all the things that we had ahead of us, and I mentioned this some time ago, that so much of our life, even though in what we do, we strive to be creative, and we try to keep ourselves out of ruts and routines that that really kind of just start to bog down on us, and everything comes just as a repeat of some previous experience. Even though we strive to do that, you realize in the pandemic world where everything changed,
Right.
that even looking toward Reunion Sunday, we said 6 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks out, that we wanted to do it, and we knew that we had to come up with some kind of hybrid thought about how we would do it, but we had no clue at that point.
Right.
I think it was only last week that we started kind of getting the ball rolling in terms of our thoughts and possibilities.
Right.
And so be praying for our media team. I think they're dread seeing an email or text from Teak over these last few days.
They said that I keep them jumping.
Yeah. So but they've done a fantastic job throughout this as we've morphed from live worship to live stream, and now back to a hybrid approach. And so we appreciate them so much and what they're doing, and for what we're going to be able to pull off on that Sunday. So thank you guys for joining us today. We do look forward to being a part of your life in worship on Sunday, whether it's live stream or here at 213 East 3rd.
See ya.